There is not a single other sports game that lets you replay the history of the sport, draft by draft, rule by rule, era by era, and actually see how the league evolves because of your decisions. Not FIFA, not Madden, not MLB The Show. Only NBA 2K does this. And that's why MyERA is, in my opinion, the greatest career mode in sports gaming history. And no, this is not some love letter of a fanboy to a company. Cause honestly, 2K can piss off with their microtransaction-infested online modes, lazy yearly updates, and ignoring long-lasting gameplay issues. This series badly needs real competition, because it has gone stale in many areas over the years. But while everyone is so damn busy tearing NBA 2K apart, and honestly quite rightfully so, we seem to actually overlook the one mode where 2K absolutely cooked. So today I want to do 3 things. First, I will show you why MyERA is unlike anything else in sports gaming. Secondly, I want to explain why it solves nostalgia better than playing old games normally does. And then I want us to talk about where it still falls short. And hey, before we go any further, I'm genuinely curious, what's the one thing you love the most about MyERA? And what's the one thing that drives you mad? Drop it in the comments, I'll be reading those. Alright, now let's talk about why this mode exists in a league of its own. So, if you never played MyERA, you might be thinking, oh, it's just another career mode but with old teams, right? Well, no, not even close. Describing MyERA this way is like saying basketball is just about throwing the ball. MyERA isn't just a career mode, it's an attempt at simulating basketball history itself. The mode has 3 vital components in my opinion, which are the scope, the depth, and flexibility. So let's start with the scope. See, when 2K introduced MyERA in NBA 2K23, they didn't start small. They gave us the Magic and the Bird era of the 80s, the Jordan era of the 90s, and the Kobe era of the early 2000s. Then 2K24 added the LeBron era. And then in 2K25 they added the Steph era. All in all, that's over 40 years of NBA history packed in one game. And you know, those are not just the roster swaps that you do with this game. Each era feels like a different league. The presentation changes, the rules change, even the vibe is different. Jump into the 80s or 90s and suddenly the game looks like an old broadcast with that retro vibe. And I honestly think that NBA 2K looks the best in that era. You may mistake it actually for a real broadcast from old times. And the craziest part? The league doesn't just stay frozen in that era. As years pass, the NBA evolves with you. Rules change, teams rebrand, league meetings introduce new ideas and you can vote on them, or hell, you can even override them if you want to play a role of basketball god. And yeah, I get it might sound like a small detail, but when you are 15 seasons deep, those details pile up and they do matter. But there's more. You hit the draft and every year real players enter the league when they are supposed to. And if you want even more accuracy, the community fills in the gaps with custom draft classes. So yeah, the scope is insane. But scope alone doesn't make a great career mode. That's what depth does. And I believe this is where MyERA separates itself completely. Because 2K gives you control over so many things like trade logic, player development and regression, career arcs, league behavior over decades. Let's say trades feel wrong. No problem, fix them with sliders. Player progression feels too fast? No problem, adjust it. And if the gameplay isn't clicking right out of the box, you guessed it, full sliders are there too. Can it be overwhelming at first? Yeah, absolutely. But that's kind of the point. MyERA trusts you. It doesn't just force one developer vision onto you, it lets you build your NBA career experience as you want it to be. And if you don't want to tweak everything for hours, well, no problem. The community has already done that work. You can download sliders, settings, rosters, it's all there. And then there's the sandbox. And I think the fantasy part of this playground that MyERA is turns into a playground of any basketball fan. Ever wondered what if LeBron entered the league in the 90s? Would he still dominate? Or maybe you want to see if Magic and Kareem Lakers would play well in today's spacing-heavy NBA. Or maybe you want to take doomed franchise finally to get it right. See, in MyERA, you're not just managing a team. You're the commissioner, you're the historian, the storyteller. Most career modes in sports games ask you to win games, and MyERA allows you to shape the whole league. And no other sports game even comes remotely close to that. Now let's talk about the nostalgia and going backwards in time. Because I think that MyERA changes how we may view in the future classical seasons in sports games. See, normally when people want to play classic seasons in their favorite sports games, they have to normally go like backwards, right? You wanna play with Messi in 2015? Well, you gotta play FIFA 15. Or maybe you want to relive the Seahawks Super Bowl run? Well, then you gotta play Madden 14. So naturally you would think that you should play older 2Ks to get past seasons in their best form. And to be fair, that's not a bad approach, cause older NBA 2Ks aged beautifully. 2K14 through 2K17 still look great and they still play amazing basketball. But here's the problem people don't seem to be talking about. After one season in those games, the illusion just starts breaking. Draft classes turn generic, rules stop evolving, the league just slowly starts drifting away from real history the more you play. You might start, let's say, in 2012, but few seasons later you are in a fantasy land with generic players who look, well, they look ass. And things get even worse if you want to go like farther back, to 80s, 90s or early 2000s. Your options are either extremely limited or they are just painfully archaic. And that's what MyERA fixes. Instead of jumping between old games and maybe buying older consoles, you get the entire historical framework inside a modern NBA 2K. Modern gameplay, modern physics, modern visuals, mods, quality of life features, and online functionalities. And you get all of that without modern downsides of gaming. There are no microtransactions here, no VC grind, no progression walls. All this bullshit is just out of this game mode, and that's great. So MyERA does something no other sports mode does. It preserves the soul of past eras while giving you the continuity and technological advancement older games simply cannot. But as great as MyERA is, it's not flawless. The default simulation breaks down after a few seasons. Trades can get really weird. Player development can go off the rails. And yeah, you can fix it with sliders and settings, but I think you shouldn't have to. Era accuracy also isn't perfect, courts and uniforms aren't always spot on, and player models across eras feel really lazy. Like, same players across different eras have essentially the same model, just different haircut. Let's take for instance Paul Gasol, who in 2003 looks like he is about to retire. Then we have Dwight Howard, who in 2010 has tattoos in the game for some reason, and Dirk in 2010 who looks like he's already 40. Oh, and the ratings? Man, they are so bloated in modern NBA 2Ks. Back in older 2Ks, ratings meant something. Now everyone who is decent is basically 85+ rated, and being elite doesn't feel, well, elite anymore. I also wish for 2K to add the ability to choose specific starting year. They got everything they need to make that happen with actually not so much effort, I think. And lastly, but probably the biggest complaint I have with 2K's approach to MyERA, and the reason for all of the earlier issues that we just discussed, and it's that it seems that 2K cares less and less about this mode every single year. Like in NBA 2K26, they barely did anything with MyERA. No new eras, no significant enhancements to functionalities. They simply slapped intro videos for each era and basically called it a day. And I think that's simply a shame, cause they got something truly special cooking here, and yet they put lackluster effort into it. But you know, even with all those problems that this mode faces, no other sports game comes even close to offering this kind of single-player career experience. There is nothing else that lets you sit down with controller in your hand and be like, I want to start in the 80s and see what happens if I change the course of NBA history. No other career mode lets you watch the league evolve around your decisions like MyERA does. And that's why MyERA is so special. And you know, it gets even better with mods on PC. Because you can fix most of the laziness and inaccuracy from 2K's side by just downloading proper mods to your game. I've got a video on my channel that goes through the list of my favorite mods for NBA 2K26, so if you are on PC, make sure to check it out. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more sports gaming content from me, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And right now on the screen you can see the list of Hall of Famers. They are cool, they're awesome. In fact, all my members on my channel help me greatly to continue doing what I'm doing. If you're into my content, then perhaps consider becoming a member on my channel. Anyway, that's all from me in this video. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.